introduce our next speaker because she's one of my favorite people, not only in Premiere, but like in the whole world. So Gayla Ungerer, she was one of those people when I first started in Premiere, I'm like, hopefully one day maybe she'll know my name. Because I thought she was just that cool to get to know, and she really is that cool to get to know. But Gayla is just starting her 21st year in Premiere. And when she started, her youngest child was 3 days old, I'm pretty sure. She has moved 3 times since she started Premiere. So she's done it all, she's seen it all, and what's best is she is the perfect person to bring you the combination of fun and information. You're gonna learn so much from her. So give it up for Executive Director, Gayla Ungerer.
Good morning, Florida. How's everybody doing? I thought, you know what, I would just start.
Honey, you know how they greet each other in Florida? They go, hey, hey.
I just want to start off by a little bit of a disclaimer this morning. If you keep hearing me go, yesterday, Peggy and I were reading this magazine with Jennifer Aniston on the front. And we were reading what she eats for breakfast. Okay, so part of her ritual is a hard-boiled egg. So I'm thinking this morning when I get up, you know, I'm going to have Keith go get me a hard-boiled egg. So he goes down to the kitchen or to the breakfast area and he brings me a hard-boiled egg. And I'm eating it thinking, I'm just going to look just like Jennifer Aniston today. And I choke on it. My body is rejecting the egg. And I told him, had I eaten a donut, it would have slid right down. And so I keep drinking water and eating more stuff to try to get the egg to go down. So that was my morning. That's how the morning started.
I had 2 eggs and no problems.
No problems. Well, the girls wanted us to just kind of start out this morning, this first segment, and really just share our story, our Premiere story. And so we thought we'd entertain you for a little while with that.
This is new territory. We've never done this before.
No, we've never done this together before. But we are getting ready to celebrate 24 years of marriage. And I always say he is not the perfect man, but he is the perfect man for me. And so we're going to celebrate. And we've got 2 children. So we have a 23-year-old son who's getting ready to graduate from college with his engineering degree. And then we have a daughter who's a sophomore at Oklahoma Baptist University studying nursing, okay? And so we just kind of will take you back to when we right after we got married. I got pregnant 6 weeks later, okay? And this is kind of the start of our story.
You know, our story probably doesn't start much different than a lot of people, in the audience here. We were newly married. Mm-hmm. We had
no money.
I'm going to get there. We had a healthy son. Life was good. I had a beautiful wife, but I knew I had married somebody special. I just knew that she had some talent. So one day I asked her, and she had just graduated from the University of Kansas with a degree in communication. And I said, honey, what do you want to do? Once the kids are kind of grown. And she said, Peggy, she said this, I just want to stand up in front of a bunch of people and talk about something that I'm passionate about.
And he said...
I said, well, I'd worked for a Fortune 500 company at the time, and I just thought corporate. Well, I guess you could be a spokesman for a company, but those jobs really don't exist. I'm not sure what you're going to do, stand up in front of a bunch of people and talk.
Such a joy stealer right there, Lacey. I was like, well, I'm going to figure it out. So I had Sam, and Sam was just a little guy, and we had kind of committed to, at that time, I wanted to be a work-from-home mom, a stay-at-home mom. And so I started, even though I'd gone to college twice and got 2 degrees, I started waiting tables. Okay, anybody here ever wait tables? Okay, so I waited tables, and Keith would meet me in the parking lot, And we would take Sam out of the car seat, move him into Keith's car, and then I would work and come home. And that went on for about 2 years. And then I went to a jewelry show. Now, how many of you were first introduced to Premier at a jewelry show? Okay, so you look around this room, and that is a lot of people. So I get invited to this jewelry show. It's Keith's cousin's show. And I go to the show. Well, actually, I walk out. I tell him, I go, honey, I'm going to a jewelry show. And he says to me, okay, so all of you are married to the same man as I am.
I probably said don't spend too much.
He said don't buy anything. And so I went to the show, and I remember it was a defining moment in my life. I remember what Kathy Allen, she's my son, what she was wearing. I remember watching her set the jewelry up, and I remember women circling this ottoman like sharks will circle bait. And I sat there and I thought to myself, gosh, there might be something to this. Like women shopping under the influence of other women, yeah? I like the concept. And I went up to Kathy Allen that night, and of course I booked a show with her. And, you know, I told her I was 3 months pregnant at the time with Mason. And I said, as soon as I have this baby, I'm going to sign up and do this. And she looked at me. I will never forget the look on her face, because how often does that really happen? Yeah. And she looked at me and she goes, yeah, you should. That's what she said. Now I want to teach you a little lesson here. Lesson number 1 today. Now keep in mind, I'm 3 months pregnant. What did I just say to her? When I have the baby. Now what do we want? No, you got to sign up now, right? You can't, don't wait 6 months. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Had she done that, I would not be standing here today. She taught me a very, very good lesson to be very generous with the information and to be patient with the results. And so I have, for 20 years now, we just started our 21st year, I will never forget that. When a young lady says to me, after this happens, or you know what Kathy did, the smartest thing she did was she and I became friends. And I was so pregnant, jewelry was the only thing that fit.
Let me tell you what I remember, Tim. I remember sitting on this green used couch, the only thing we could afford, and you came home that night, and she looked me right in the eye, and she says, I think I found what I'm going to do, and I know I'm going to be good at it. And I thought, well, that's half the battle right there, just the confidence. And she had that look, that confident look in her eye, and I'm like, she's possessed. And she's going to do good at it.
But, you know, back in the day, it was about $1,500 was the investment to get into Premier. And I remember saying to Keith, my accountant husband, you know, this is the investment to get in. And he was a little skeptical. And here's what I want to tell you girls. It is okay. Your husband's job is to protect you and your family. And so when he first heard that, I think he thought, we've known people who have gone, you know, done this or done that, and they had not made money or had not found any level of success. And so I think he was a little bit skeptical. So let's just fast forward 6 months, and I give birth to Mason, and 3 days after I give birth, Kathy Allen comes knocking at my door.
She did have a gift.
She did have a gift. She had a gift. She wanted to bring a gift over. It was really 2 gifts. The gift of a contract and the gift of a little dress for sis. But I will never, you know how you remember those things? I remember her coming through the door. Now this is a mother of 5, you know, and coming through the door with this baby Gap box. Now, let me just tell you, 20 years ago, I wasn't shopping at Baby Gap. I thought, this woman is shopping at Baby Gap. This might not be a bad business to get into. I know that sounds crazy, but that's just what I thought. And so she came in, and I remember sitting on that couch. I was nursing Mason, and that's when I signed up to become a jeweler. And so 3 weeks later, I held my training show, just like all of you did, and I just got to be honest with you, it was not a great show. You know, people let me down. There were people who said they would come and they didn't show up. Anyone? I know. And I want to tell you something. You know what? I did not let that stop me, because my coach and my mentor in this business said, get on the phone and call those girls. And I did what she told me to do. I followed up with the people who couldn't come. And so, you know, we can fast forward. I will tell you a story. 4 months into this business, I had no bookings. Okay, does that make you feel better? Anybody? Seriously, I remember going, oh my gosh, because back in 20 years ago, we didn't do booking activities. And we never heard the phrase replace a show with a show. Okay, so I'm just doing all these shows, having fun, and then all of a sudden I have nothing. And my father said to me, and I love him, but he said to me, I told you, you shouldn't have done that. So what do you think I said? Game on. And 6 months later, my mother was sponsored into the business.
I do want to tell you a little story about her determination, though. And I remember we had moved to another little bit bigger house. And I remember coming home one day and Gayla saying, honey, I booked our Disney cruise. And I was like,
we're going on a Disney cruise?
I said, honey, we can't afford that. She goes, oh yeah, I can afford that. And I'm going to pay for it too.
Yes.
And you talk about a woman who went to work doing shows. She was going to prove to me she could make the money to pay for that Disney trip.
Yes, and we did. When the kids were a little bit older, we took them on a Disney cruise. But you know, over the years, I would think one of the things that really has contributed to our marriage and our premier business is every year that we had an opportunity to win a trip, we've won a trip. How many of you have gone on a designer leadership trip? Okay. I mean, you know, Callie, back in the day, we couldn't afford to travel. You're buying diapers and formula, and the kids are in a million activities, but Premier really gave us an opportunity to travel together and spend that time together when we had little kids, and that was really important. The other thing that we always did together.
Right. We went to National Rally.
National Rally. Big.
We went to 14 straight national rallies. And you know, fortunately, your mom and dad helped watch the kids, but that just going there, and meeting the people in Premier, and seeing Andy and Joan talk, I mean, that spoke into our marriage.
It did. And it's just really important. And you're going to hear me talk a little bit later this afternoon about participating in the things that grow roots in your business. And just to be quite honest with you, National Rally and a Haven of Hope trip are game changers. So when you have the opportunity to go, do whatever you have to get there. And there will be sacrifices that you have to make, but I promise you, do you trust me? I promise you, it is worth going to those events.
You know, one thing that Premier did teach us is how to dream big. And I was kind of a fairly new believer, and I didn't understand God's plan for you, but we had always just dreamed that there was something more than living in Kansas. And so we had dreamed about moving to a new area and building your business and just kind of going out on our own.
Yes.
And we were on a canoe trip to southern Missouri.
July 2006, we're on a camping trip with the kids.
And literally the map flipped open. This is before we had GPSs, right? So you have a map. The map flipped open and it was California. And I remember looking right in the middle, Sacramento, and I said, honey, I got an uncle that lives in Sacramento. We should consider moving to California. It was just out of the blue. Maybe, I don't know, God put this in our lives. And
Well, we'd always talked about moving. We just thought it would be someday when the kids got a little older. So on that trip, when we picked that up, when we thought, California, it's almost like if you've ever had that moment where you speak it and then all of a sudden it just becomes huge. Like you just know. Do you know what I'm talking about? Some of you know what I'm talking about. It's like undeniable, a weird feeling, a scary feeling. We're on this canoe trip. we say to the kids, hey kids, and 2 dogs, what do you think about moving to California? Yes, let's move to California. Well, they think we're moving to the OC. We are not moving to the OC. Northern California is not the OC. But anyway, just a little bit about that. So I'm 11 years into Premier. I'm a 6-diamond designer. I'll never forget it. We had 26 designers in our Premier family in Kansas City. And this idea comes over us. We can't quit thinking about it. We can't quit praying about it. I remember writing Joan and Andy, and I literally hit send on an email, and within 20 minutes, the phone rang, and it was Joan. It was Andy, and then you could hear Joan in the back. Gayla, are you thinking about moving to California? And I'm going, just that feeling of being a little terrified. I said, would you pray with us about this? We want to just make sure that this is something we're supposed to do. So a lot of strange things happened. You hear the story of the guy circling your house and knocks on your door and offers you, $200,000 more than the realtor says you could ever get for your house, that kind of thing. So all of these things happened, and before we knew it,
4 months had passed since we decided, and we were in a car driving to California.
we're in California. We are in California. And I will tell you, we spent almost 9 years out there. And that move, we talked about it a little bit last night, some of my greatest lessons in leadership were learned there. Some of the greatest growth spiritually for Keith and I happened in California. And there was just a tremendous amount of blessings that came from that move.
Yeah. Well, it helped strengthen our marriage. It was just our family. It was us out there, and I think it was great in our kids and instilled in them the confidence to do things and reach out and dream big,
Yes.
And that's what they're doing today.
Absolutely, they are doing that today. And so, anyway, so we spent 8.5, 9, in our 9th year out there, and I would love to say that God called us to Texas, but really Keith called us to Texas.
My daughter decided she's going to go to college in Oklahoma. She'd never even been to Oklahoma. I don't know how she got that on.
No clue.
And I just prayed about it, that we wanted to be close to her and your parents.
Right.
And I just knew that we had an opportunity to move to Texas. That's where we're at.
And that's where we're at. And there's a whole, I'm going to talk a lot about starting your business over this afternoon. How many of you have ever had to start your business over? Okay? And this is going to be a really good thing to discuss, because what I find sometimes is when jewelers run out of business, they run from Premier. They run out of shows, they think I'm done, there's no more business. And we know that is just not the truth. There is business everywhere. And so we're going to talk about lots of different ways to get started again. So if you're sitting here today and that's the situation you're in, we're going to be discussing that this afternoon. But I do want to just say this. We have a lot of husbands here. Let's just kind of give a round of applause for all the husbands that came today.
Let's have the husbands stand up. Husbands stand up here. We might need for one.
I'll tell you what, as a husband and your wife in this business, you can be either the greatest encourager or the greatest discourager. And I just want to encourage you to be an encouragement to her. And I just want to share with you maybe some of the things that Keith did, when the kids were little and I was out doing shows. Now this is a true story. There were times I said I had a show and I did not have a show. And I know Tim's thinking she has no integrity. I have confessed the sin before my husband and the Lord, and I've been forgiven of it. But here's the truth. Being a stay-at-home mom is hard. And you're home all day. And I just remember, Kathy said you can make $600 if you work one night a week. Well, I'm not working one night a week. Are you kidding me? I'm working 2 nights a week. I'm working 2 nights a week so I can use, part of that money to pay the mortgage and the other part for myself and my kids. Going to Target and Walmart, it's expensive.
You know what I remember? I I remember sitting at my desk in my
Oh,
corporate
don't
job.
tell that story.
This is before we had caller ID, right? And I would pick the phone up. You know, I didn't know if it was my boss, who's calling, right? Customer. And I would hear kids screaming in the background. You know, and I'm like, hey, honey, how's your day going? Good thing you have a show tonight.
Yes, it's a good thing I have a show tonight. But I did. There was times I'd spend 4 hours just walking around Walmart, or one time I went to the movie, and I'd come home, and I'd come home, and honey would be like, "How was the show?" And I'd be
No,
like,
you gotta be truthful now.
"What?"
Okay, don't make this mistake. I would say, honey, how much money did you make? Right? I learned.
You don't ever ask that. Whatever you asked me, I just said, no one was there. But me. You know what? I told Kathy last year at Christmas, I said, and hear me when I say this, if you think you don't want to sponsor in this business, and Tim said it is not about you. This business, because I did want to be a stay-at-home mom, but not a broke stay-at-home mom, I did want to work from the home, but it was a lot. It really saved me. Okay, and so that's one reason that I'm so passionate about sharing this with people, is because, we don't sponsor in Premier for what it can do for us, right? You're not going to win a car. Well, you might win a car at Rally, but you're not going to win a car based on your sales or your sponsoring. We sponsor in Premier for what it is going to do for that person. And that is the gift that she gave me 20 years ago. And I want you to hear me when I say that, because I want you to leave and give someone else that gift next month. Would you do that? Yeah. Just share this business. Anything else? Any other stories you want to tell on me?
I do. Raising our kids and seeing their mom go off to work every night. First of all, it made me a better dad, right? Because I had.
He was not babysitting, girls. What was he doing?
Parenting.
Say it louder. Parenting. Yay.
As mom's off working at night, I took care of the kids. But I think later, as they got a little bit older, they saw that hard work turned into trips for the kids, right? And so I think we've taught our kids a work ethic by watching you grow your business. And so that's been a great impact on them.
It definitely does. My son, who just took his first job engineering, he'll be out in San Francisco working, and he said to me not too long ago, Mom, I've looked at the organizational chart, and it looks like in 4 years I can move up 2 levels. I'm thinking, where in the world did you hear that? But you know what? I want to tell you something, and keep this right. If you have little kids, and a lot of you have little kids, they are watching you. And the more you can get them involved, and I know a lot of you girls do, the more you can get them involved, and they know mom's going to work, mom and dad are going to work, they're going to serve people, and you start teaching them that concept at a very early age. It is just fun to have the whole unity within your family.
I remember having that little chart, the little Disney trip chart. And when mom would come home or sponsor jeweler, kids get the little sticker, and they knew that when it was full, that meant they were going to go to Disney.
It was, because there was one night Mason threw herself on the floor, and she said, "Not another jewelry party, Mommy!" Anyone? Does that happen to anyone? And I just said, when we come home tonight, you're going to be able to mark off one more of those little houses on that piece of paper on the refrigerator. Yeah. So that's kind of our story. It's been, 20 years of, honestly, because I just always try to keep it real. There's been great years. We've had tremendous growth in our business. There's been years that it hasn't grown much at all, if any. And then there's years we've gone backwards. And I just want you to know that that's just business. That is just business. And you just have to keep going. And we're going to talk a lot about that this afternoon. Because what I want you to do is learn to keep going when you have those times. Because those times do not define you, they refine you.
And I think one of the roles of the husbands is when your wife comes home and she's excited, you go up and celebrate with her. You tell her what a great job. And then when she's having a bad month, or just something's going on and she's down low, what's your job? Your job's to pick her up, bring her back. Remind her that it's the marathon, it's not a sprint. So.
That's right. Anything else you want to say about me? About us?
Tim, we are lucky.
Well, he, to me, is the best of the best, and I would never have built a business without him. You know, I think you're going to share a little bit in the men's session, just really some specific things that he did. Like, I hate to say this, but I'll preface it with this. When I would come home from a show, it looked like the maids had been at my house. Yes, ma'am.
Here, all right, here's the key. It's called a 15-minute warning, right? So when you leave your show,
I had to call him.
and you have 15 minutes until you arrive at your house. I can clean a house in 15 minutes. I mean, like a madman, and then I'm back on the couch.
Yeah.
She thought the house looked like that the whole time.
Until I'd open a cabinet the next day and everything would fall out. But honey, it was little things like that you did that helped me so much along the way. So thank you so much, Lacey, for letting us share that.